In this RoutCAD application video, we will see how to design a spatula holder made out of wood. We will be designing a spatula holder out of a 0.43-inch thick plywood. We have done some work already on the spatula holder, and we will basically describe the process of designing and what we have done to finally obtain the G-code to machine this spatula holder on a CNC machine. Let's see how it is done. The first thing to do when we start a new project is to define the type of material that we will be using. In this case, we go to the machine menu and we go to material selection, and we are designing out of wood, so we will be selecting wood, and the thickness is actually one of the selection items. It is 0.438 inch. This is the thickness of the plywood that we will be using to design the spatula holder. Now, if we place the mouse on an empty area and we click the middle mouse button, we get information about the material properties. We can see that it is plywood and the thickness is 0.437 inch. Now, to better see the whole spatula holder, we can do view or zoom, and we go to zoom out, and again zoom out. And we can see the full spatula holder, and we can also see the limit of the work area, because everything in gray is basically the material that we want to machine this spatula holder, and everything is in red is the absence of material or empty space. Now, the next thing to do is obviously to define the work area, because we need to tell the software how big of a piece of plywood we will be putting on a CNC to machine the spatula holder. To do that is quite easy. We just go to the configuration panel and we click on configuration panel and it will open. Well, also we can select the language that we prefer to work in this case English, and also the type of unit, in this case Imperial. Now, the work area that we'll be using is 23 inch wide by 15 inch height. This is the work area that we will be machining the spatula holder out of. And also we are defining a depth of cut of 0.6 inch, which means that we want to go in one pass. So the cutting tool or milling tool will go deep by 0.6 inch in one pass. There are no finish passes, and it will be a single pass, because we can do that with this milling tool. The milling tool diameter is only 1/8 of an inch, but this type of milling tool can machine it in one pass, so we are defining it like that. When we are happy with those settings, all we do is click on apply, and if we want to save them permanently for the next time we open that project, we click on save. Now, we see the part of the spatula holder. This is the bottom part that is going to rest on a kitchen counter. This is the vertical part that will be glued to the base, and this is the upper part that will be glued over here. And this is where you're going to put all your spatula, your kitchen appliance, spatula and things like that in those holes. Now, as I said, we've already done some work on this one, but I'm going to show a little bit of how it was done. If we go to the view and we can see show route, at the moment, what we see is the representation of the finished product, which means this after it's been machined, this is what you will get. What is in red is what is in gray is the material, and what is in red is empty space or absence of material. So with this, the CNC will be machining everything in red, and the thickness that you see over here represent the diameter of the cutting tool that we will be using. Now we can also go to the view menu and we uncheck show route, and we can see everything in pink, which means these are the routed line that will the CNC will be machining. And those routed lines were initially created using the draw menu, using line, using circle, and also using point. So this is how all of these were designed. At the beginning, they were red because they were construction objects. And then what was done, we went to the machine menu and we did route semi-automatic. And one by one, we click on all the elements to basically route them. And then they became that color pink, which means this element have been routed. Now, to better see the machining, we go to the view menu and we display route arrow. So by displaying route arrow, we can see basically the sequence of the machining. Basically, what's going to happen when we click the middle mouse button on any element. We can see what element will be machined and in what order. In RoutCAD, the very first element to be machined always has the color green. So if we click the middle mouse on it, we can see this is the first object to be routed. The drill size is 1/8 of an inch. This is the drill diameter. Now the depth of cut is 0.51 inch. Remember that the material itself is 0.43 inch. So basically, it will go through the material completely and then follow this sequence. So if we click the middle mouse button on this, we see this is the very first element. This is the second. This is the third. And this is the fourth. So basically, the software will machine the very first rectangular part of the spatula holder. And then it will go, and then it will start machining basically the holes in the top portion of the spatula holder that is holding those spatulas. And after that, it will start machining the outer portion of the spatula holder. In this very project, we have completely defined all the lines. Like I said, using the draw menu, using line. When we draw a line, we can draw it using point. We can enter the coordinate that we want. We can also use the mouse to draw and the snap. There's many ways we can draw object. We have also assigned a depth of cut to each element. Simply when we go to the machine menu and we have depth of cut, the depth of cut that you want, each element can have a different depth of cut. And if we click the middle mouse button on any of this element, we can see that the depth of cut, this representation, means that the cutting tool has gone completely through the material because the depth of cut exceed the actual material thickness. So this gives us pretty much a complete representation of the spatula holder. Like I said, to actually define the machining sequence, we need to go to Machine and Route Semi-Automatic. And with the mouse, we can basically click each element that we want to route. I'm gonna draw a small other item here using the draw menu, and just basically to see how it's done. First of all, at the moment, the depth of cut, for example, of this material is 0.51 inch. The current depth of cut that we have is a little bit more. It's 0.59 inch, but we can change it. We can just go depth of cut 0.59, and we can enter, for example, 0.51 if this is what we want. And a single depth of cut is 0.51, which means it's going to do whatever it needs to do in only one pass. So we click on OK. Now, if we want to draw some more element, the quickest way in this situation will be to use the grid. So we can just go to the option and we click on grid, and we're going to make the grid a little bit bigger. We're going to make it 0.5 inch. And we're also going to press F3 to enable the snap. And we're going to check on grid. So we are snapping to the grid. Now, what I will do, I will change the view to view show routes. As I said, when you are in view show route, you're actually seeing the machining as how it will be done. Basically, the thickness that you see over here represent the diameter of the milling tool. So this will be the material because all those elements have been routed. Now we will draw another element here that we perhaps don't need for the spatula holder, but just as an example of how it's done. We will basically draw three lines and the arc, and then we will route them. So to do that, to do draw line, we just go to the draw menu and we click on line. Then in this case, we want to draw using 2 points. But we don't want to enter the coordinate. We want to use the mouse. Sometimes if you have coordinate and you like do that, you can do that. Or you can use the first point and angle and the length. There's so many ways of drawing line. But in this case, we'll be using 2 points and we will be drawing with the mouse. So we check use mouse and we click on continue. So now we are ready to draw some lines, and you will see the line that we will be drawing is what we call construction line, because these lines have not been routed. They are just lines that are there like that we made. But we didn't route them, so they are not part of the machining sequence. So let's draw some lines. So the grid is on, F3 is on. So we just bring the mouse close to any grid point, and we click the left mouse button. We drag the mouse, and in this case, because we set the grid to be 1/2 inch, so we're going to go 1 grid point 2, that's 1 inch, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3. So we went 3 inches, 3 inches down. Now we're going to go this way, and we're going to go 1 inch, 2 inch, 3, and 4 inch, I believe. We click there, and we're going to do the same thing over here. So now you can see the difference between an element that has been routed and an element that has not been routed is quite obvious. You can see, first of all, when we display view show route, you can see that the element that has been routed has a thickness to it. And first of all, and if you click the middle mouse button, it tells you that the object has been routed, and it also tells you what is its order. You know, it's the object number 12 in the routing sequence. If you go on one of these lines, you can see that the object is not routed, but it still have a depth of cut because we have defined the depth of cut to be 0.51 inch. So it does have a depth of cut of 0.51 inch. So this is fine, and its tool diameter is 1/8 of an inch because this is what we have defined in the system to have a 1/8 of an inch tool diameter. Now, the next element that we would like to make, we would like to make an arc that has a radius of 1.5 inch. So we will basically go to the draw menu, and we're going to click on arc. In this case, we could draw our arc with 3 points. We could click 1 point over here, 1 over there, 1 over here, 1 over here. That's the fastest way to draw this arc for this case. Or we could also basically draw with the center and the radius. Basically, we click where the center is and we enlarge it. Then we can also break the arc after. So I will draw it both ways, and just to see how both ways is done, but the end result will be the same. So let's draw with 3 points. So we have 3 points selected, and we just click on continue. Okay. Oh no, I made a little bit of mistake. I didn't enter points. I should have checked use mouse in this case because I didn't check use mouse. It was expecting to have some point. I didn't enter nothing. But I'm going to check use mouse and click on continue. So to draw that arc is quite easy. We just click on the very first point over here, and we said that the radius was 1.5 inch. So the next point will be 0.5 inch, 1 inch, 1.5 inch. Click over there, and we click for the third point over here. And here we have it. We made an arc. We made an arc of a radius of 1.5 inch, and this is another part. Like I said, this is only an example. We don't need that for the actual spatula holder that we're doing, but as an example, this is what we have. Now, that was one way of drawing that arc, which was the quickest way. But we'll do another way just as an example. I'm going to do Control-Z to undo what I just did. Also, you could do undo by going to the edit menu and click on undo, or Control-Z. So I will draw again with the circle parameters, but this time I'm going to check center point plus radius. So I will click on continue. Now the software RoutCAD is expecting you for the first point to click on the center of the circle. We know the center to be here because this is 1.5 inch this way, 1.5 inch that way. So I will click over there and I will enlarge until I get to that point over here. And over there, I'm going to click again to finish my circle. Now, there's a little bit of difference between what we did now and before. Before, we did an arc, so there was 3 points involved. Now, we did a full circle, so we basically just define the center, and we define the radius, and it gave us a full circle. The other way was faster because it gave us exactly what we wanted, which was the arc. Now we got a full circle, so we need to do some more work on this. All we need to do, we need to break that circle to delete this portion. And by the way, a full circle always starts at 0 degree, is toward the right, and the angle increasing is clockwise positive, so it goes from 0 degree to 360. Even if you click the middle mouse button, you can see the initial angle is 0, and the final angle is 360. So 0 degrees over here, and it goes 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. So let's break this circle. So we just go to the edit, and we're going to click on break. We're going to select the object we want to break. In this case, we want to select this circle. We click on that circle, and it becomes blue, so it's just about to be broken. And we're going to click on that line to break. So if we click the middle mouse button again on it, we can see it already broke this portion of the circle. So now we have 2 arcs, this arc and that arc. But now we need to break it again because we're going to delete that portion. So we're going to go again and click on it, and we're going to click that to break it. So we click on it, and it did it. It broke that circle. So now all we have to do is to delete that portion that we don't need it anymore. So we just go to the erase object, and we click on that, and this is gone. So basically, we did the same thing in 2 different ways. Now, we have basically 2 arcs. I'm going to tell you why. The reason why we have 2 arcs is because the original circle, we can say that a circle is an arc of 360 degrees. We started from 0 degree. We went all the way around. But because we broke it, now we went around and we broke that portion. So this portion is gone. So there's 1 portion over here and 1 portion over there. And we can see it if we click the middle mouse button. There's 1 arc over here and 1 arc over there. In the other thing that we did before, we got 1 arc that was going from here to here. But that's fine. We have 2 arcs, but that doesn't matter. We could have had 1 arc or 2 arc. It's the same. It doesn't matter. It's just a very subtle difference. Now, we're going to show another aspect of the software, which is the automatic offset. With RoutCAD, you basically design the part as you want it. Basically, we draw this, this shape, which is a rectangular shape with a circular end. Okay, we just draw it. It has basically 3 inches this way, and we're gonna confirm by clicking the middle mouse button, we can see that the length is 3 inches. Over there, the height, and over there, the length is 4.5 inches. So we did all that. That's just fine. But this is the way we want it in this case, because like I said, in RoutCAD, you design the part the way you want it. Then you use the automatic offset to offset the construction object, line, circle, etc. by half the milling tool diameter, and then you will route the offsetted element, okay, and that will give you exactly the part that you want. Now, RoutCAD will automatically offset by half the tool diameter. In this case, we set the milling tool diameter to 1/8 of an inch. So RoutCAD will offset everything that you tell it to offset by 1/16 of an inch, and then when you will machine, you will end up with the original part that you want. So let's see how that is done. It's quite easy. We just go to the edit menu, and we're going to select automatic contour offsetting. Now, it asks us to click on one side of the first object to be offset automatically. I'm going to show you how we do it one by one, and I also show it how you can do it with a window to go faster. So to do it one by one, we just going to click, for example, on the one side, because now we want to offset toward the outside because we want to have this final contour. So we click on the outside of the first element. It will offset it, and then now the reason why we barely see is because we are not zoom enough. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom this portion. I'm going to click on the window, zoom it. So now we can better see what's happening. So it's offset at this part. Now I am going to go and click on the next part. It's going to offset this, offset that, keep on offsetting, and then it will offset the last part. And when it offsetted the last part, it closed the shape automatically. So if we click the middle mouse button on any one of the shape, we can see now it's still 1/8 of an inch, and the depth of cut is 0.51. This is what we have designed. So 1/8 of an inch milling tool with 0.51 inch depth of cut, and like I said, 0.5 inch depth of cut will go through the material. So to machine that, in this case, we wish to do up milling. So what we're going to do, we're going to define a machining that will go in a counterclockwise way to obtain up milling, because the milling tool is spinning in a clockwise way, and we will be machining in a counterclockwise way to obtain up milling. And this, for this particular wood, we find that it gives us better result. There will be one more thing that we will do. We would like to have a point where the material will finish its machining, not on one of the edge or not one over there, because we would like to sand it after. So what we will do, we will break this line in two and start from that point. To do that is easy. We're just going to draw another line we can actually draw a line that goes through using the snap. We just go draw a line, and we click on that point, and then we're going to edit break it, and we break that line with that line. So now we have two lines, one on top, one on the bottom. We don't need that line anymore, so we're going to erase. We're going to erase that object. Now we are ready to machine this, to define the routing sequence over here. So to define the routing sequence, what we need to do, we go to Machine, and we click on Route Semi-Automatic. Okay. And like I said, we just double check our thickness is 1/8. Everything is good. So we're gonna click the middle mouse button to highlight the object to see what it is. And what we will do is because we want to do up milling, as I said, in RoutCAD you always the machining start from the point you click to where it finishes. So if you click close to this point, it will start at the beginning and go there. If you click close to this end, it will start over here and go over there. So we want to do up milling this way. So what we will do is we will click on this. It will machine. But another thing, because now it's showing you the full machining thickness, the way it is when it's machined in reality, by showing you in red. So when it goes red, it means it will remove all this material, so there's nothing behind it. If we click the middle mouse button on it, we can even see that it goes through completely. But we're gonna go view display route arrow, so that will be a bit easier for us to define the routing sequence. Now we did the first element, we go to the next element, we go to the next element, okay, and we go to the next element, and to the next element, and to the next element, and then we finally completely machine it. Now we just noticed that we made a small mistake. If we zoom over here, we're going to zoom over here. That's a little mistake that we made a mistake. The circle that we did not exactly end where we thought it would. It ended in a different location, probably because when we did it, we didn't grab exactly, it was perhaps not exactly in the middle, so that's why the circle is coming up this way. So we made a small mistake. So this is why the routing, you can see it goes over here, then come back over here, and then keep on machining. So if we do zoom out, we go back to it, and we can see that. But that's okay. We can fix it after. That's not a big deal. So this is how we have done this. Now, if we can see the routing arrow. So we're machining all around this way, and it will, like I said, it will do it in one pass. The reason why it's doing it in one pass is because we have a depth of cut of 0.51 inch, and when we go to machine menu, we also have a single depth of cut of 0.51 inch. So that's going to go just 0.51 in one shot and machine all that. Now, if we do view, show display, show route, we can see how it's machined. And we can see that if we zoom over here, if we zoom the window, there's a little bit of an imperfection. And we can actually see the imperfection because of that little mistake we did. But that's okay. In life, we make mistakes and we just correct them. So we go zoom out. And now this is what it will do. And actually, if we click the middle mouse button, we can see that the milling tool will go through the material completely because of the material thickness is less than the depth of cut. Now we're going to do zoom out. Okay. Again, we're going to zoom just that area over here, zoom window. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do view show. We're going to remove show route. We're not showing display route arrow, and we're going to correct that mistake that we did. So let's do the correction. First of all, probably that mistake occurred because we probably did not select the proper thing when we did that circle, that circle. And we're going to do another circle on it, and just to show you how we're going to correct that. Now what we will do, we will draw another line, okay, and also using 2 point, but this time we're going to uncheck grid. So it's not going to snap to the grid anymore, but we have checked snap midpoint and end point. So we're going to go at the end of that straight line, which is over here. There's one line there, okay, and we're going to go at that line, and we're going to draw all the way to that other line. So we did a line that went from here to here. If we cannot see exactly, we can zoom window to better see it. So that's good. And we can do zoom out or Control Alt O. and then we're going to zoom window again to better see. So we did that. We're going to do zoom out now. Now, if we click the middle mouse button on that line, we can see that that line is exactly 3 inches long, which is okay. And now we're going to use that line to draw basically another arc. And we're going to see the difference between the two arcs, the bad arc and the good arc. So we go to the draw menu and we click on draw circle and arc. We're going to be drawing in this case with center point plus radius. We click on continue. Now in the selection we have the snap option: center, midpoint, endpoint. Center is always the center of a circle or arc. Midpoint apply to line, the midpoint of a line, and endpoint apply to arc, circle, and line. So to draw a circle using this line, we're going to place the mouse close to the midpoint. And because we have this thing selected, midpoint, endpoint, RoutCad is going to pick up the midpoint. So we click on it. Now it picks up exactly the midpoint, and we will enlarge it all the way to the endpoint. And we click again. Now we can see a very, very subtle difference between the good arc, which is this one. I'm going to move the mouse over there, and the arc where we made the mistake, which is over here. So what we will do is I'm going to zoom window. I'm going to zoom that area to see what the problem is. And we can see the problem because we went and probably selected something wrong. Now the good arc is good. So what we will do, we'll do the same thing as we did before. We're going to do zoom out, and we're going to break that. Arc again. We're going to go to edit, and we're going to select break. We click on the circle that we want to break. We click the left mouse button on it. It becomes blue. And we're going to click that line because we want to break this, arc with this line. So now we click again, and we can see it broken, but there's still one part that needs to be broken. So we click again on it, and we break it. So now it's broken completely. Now what we will do, we will zoom window this portion, and we will click over here to erase the arc that we do not want. So we're going to go to erase object, and we're going to erase that arc. We're going to do zoom out and zoom window again over there. And you can see that arc that is no good. That is, we made a mistake. We will erase it also. Now the last thing we need to erase is that inner arc that we don't need. So we're going to go to, we just click on it to erase. And we're going to do zoom out, and we're also going to erase that middle portion. So we erased everything that we don't want or don't need. Now we are almost ready to redo what we did before, but we also need to erase the construction, the routed element that we did using the automatic offset, because those ones are not good, because they were from the bad arc that we did initially. So we just go and click on them one by one. We just erase them one by one. As is, that's good. And we will do the same thing, the middle portion. No, we need to offset that first. We'll offset and then break the middle portion. Now, what we are ready to do is to use again the automatic offset to offset all this object. But we will do it into another way. We'll use the window. So we're going to select a window, for example, or we can do that after, doesn't matter. We go to edit, automatic contour offsetting, and we're going to select window instead of taking one element by element. Now it's much faster to offset by window. If sometimes it can be done like that, other time it can't. But if it can, do it with the window, is faster. Now, look at the tip. It tells us click on one of the sides of the first object to be automatically offset.